When you create an Excel formula, it is possible to type values such as interest rates or commission percentages directly into the formula. But in almost every case, it's a better idea to draw the value from a cell in your worksheet. Putting a value in a cell both makes the value visible instead of hidden in a formula and enables you to change the value without editing the formula. I'll show you how to edit a formula later in this chapter, but for now, I'll show you how to use cell references effectively. The most direct way to enter a cell reference into a formula is to type the reference. Let's say that you want to use the values from cells B4 and B5 in a formula to calculate your revenue for those months. To create that formula, you would type an equal sign, and then type B4 plus B5, press enter, and you get the result. You can also enter a cell's address into a formula by clicking the cell when you come to the point in the formula where you want to put it. For example, if you wanted to find half your revenue for a month, you could calculate that amount by typing an equal sign, clicking cell B5, which adds the cell reference to the formula, typing the multiplication operator, which is an asterisk or a capital 8, and then multiplying by 0.5. With that formula in place, you can press enter, and you get your result. Now let's say that you want to find your total revenue for two periods, January through March of 2008 and July through September of the same year. Those cells aren't all neighbors on the worksheet, so you'll have to refer to them separately within your formula. To do that, you can create a sum formula by typing equal SUM, and now you type in the references. So January through March of 2008 are cells B3 through B5. And now I type a comma, indicating that there's going to be another range, and you'll notice that when I type the comma, Excel updated the tooltip here beneath the formula that I'm creating, where it said sum, then I had my number 1, which is B3 through B5, and now when I start typing in after the comma, I'll be typing in number 2. So I wanted July through September, so I have B9 through B11. Also notice that Excel outlines those groups of cells to indicate where they fit in the formula. B3 through B5 are outlined in blue. Their reference is within the formula, highlighted in blue. And notice that these cells, B9 through B11, are in green, and they're outlined in green on the body of the worksheet. So now when I type or write parentheses, I hit return, and I get my total. You could create the same cell references by clicking and dragging the cells when you get to the right point of the formula. So let's say, for example, that I type in equal sum, and I want to select B3 through B5. I can just click and select, type a comma to indicate that I want to enter another cell range, and select B9 through B11. I've created the formula, type or write parentheses to close the function, and I get the same result. So that's how to add disconnected cell regions to a formula. But what if for some reason you want to perform a calculation on an entire row or column? For example, to find the total of every value entered into row number 9. To find the sum of all values in a row, you type in this type of formula. So I'm going to try to find the value of row number 9, so I don't want to put my formula in row 9. If I type in equal sum, I can create a reference to an entire row by typing in the number of the row, in this case row number 9, followed by a colon, followed by the number 9 again. You notice when I did that Excel highlighted all of the visible cells in row 9, and you'll just have to trust me, but believe me when I tell you that that selection extends all the way to the right edge of the worksheet. So I can type a right parentheses to close the function, hit return, and I get my result. One thing I should point out is that the value in cell A9, which is July, is a text value, so it's not included in the summary operation. You can do the same thing to find the total of all the values in a column. So let's say that I wanted to get the total of all of the values here in column E. To do that, I create the formula equal sum E colon E, which indicates that I want to add all the values in column E, hit return, and I get my value. Once again, if you do create a formula that includes all the values in a row or column, do not put the formula in a cell in that row or column. You'll create what's called a circular reference because the formula would refer to its own cell as part of its calculation and generate an error. Including cell ranges and formulas by creating effective cell references makes your job much easier. Whether you select cells or enter their addresses by hand, you can be sure you're summarizing the proper data when your references are right. In the next lesson, I'll show you how to create cell references you can copy safely from cell to cell.